I spent 3 years building my tech startup. My brother stole the idea, launched first, made millions, then sued me for patent infringement. 3 years of development, all my savings invested, weeks from launch. Then my brother released my exact product and claimed I stole it from him. My name is Marcus Chen. I'm 35 years old. 3 years ago, I started building a tech startup from scratch. A project management platform called FlowState, designed specifically for creative agencies. I spent 3 years developing it, invested every cent of my savings, worked nights and weekends while keeping my day job, taught myself to code, hired freelance developers, built prototypes, refined the user interface. I shared everything with my younger brother Tyler. He's a venture capitalist. I thought he could give me advice, maybe help me find investors when I was ready. Tyler seemed supportive, asked detailed questions, reviewed my prototypes, attended development meetings, told me how proud he was. I trusted him completely. Then 2 months before my planned launch, Tyler made an announcement. He'd started a new company, a project management platform for creative agencies called Creative Flow. With my exact features, my interface design, my target market, my entire business model. He'd used everything I shared with him to secure $5 million in venture capital funding. Launched with a massive marketing budget I couldn't compete with. And when I launched FlowState anyway, his lawyers sent me a cease and desist letter, claiming I'd stolen his original idea. My parents believed him. My family took his side. Tyler launched first. He has the patents. You're just bitter about his success. I lost everything. My savings, 3 years of work, my relationship with my family. And Tyler made millions. This is the story of what happens when you trust family with your dreams and they steal everything you've built. My brother Tyler is 3 years younger than me. Growing up, we were close. I was the responsible older brother. He was the ambitious younger one. I was methodical, careful, wanted to build things the right way, slow and steady. Tyler was aggressive, impatient, wanted success now, fastest route possible. Our parents owned a small accounting firm in Houston. Solid middle-class life. Not wealthy, but comfortable. They always compared us, put us in competition with each other. Marcus got straight A's this semester. Tyler, you need to work harder. Tyler made the varsity team as a sophomore. Marcus, why aren't you more athletic? It created tension, but we were still brothers, still had each other's backs. I went to University of Texas, studied computer science, graduated with good grades, but nothing spectacular. Got a job at a mid-sized tech company in Austin. Software engineer, decent salary, stable career path. Tyler went to business school at Rice, MBA program, networked aggressively, graduated with connections to venture capital firms. Got hired at a VC firm in Austin, started evaluating startups, learning how to spot opportunities, building relationships with founders and investors. He was good at it, really good, charismatic, confident, could sell anything to anyone. We both ended up in Austin, different industries, different social circles, but we stayed in touch. Sunday dinners when we could, occasional beers after work, text messages about sports and family stuff. Tyler would tell me about the startups he was evaluating, the pitches he'd heard, what made a good business model versus a bad one. I found it fascinating, started paying attention to the startup ecosystem in Austin, reading TechCrunch, following founders on Twitter. And I started noticing problems, inefficiencies, gaps in the market. One problem kept coming up in conversations with friends who worked at creative agencies. Project management tools were all wrong for their industry. Tools like Asana and Monday were built for traditional businesses. Linear workflows, predictable timelines, clear hierarchies. But creative agencies were chaos. Multiple projects simultaneously, constant client revisions, collaboration between designers, copywriters, strategists, account managers. None of the existing tools handled that reality well. My friend Jake ran a small design agency. We were having drinks one night, and he was venting about his project management nightmare. We've tried everything. Asana, Basecamp, Trello, Monday. They all suck for what we do. Either too simple or too complicated. Nothing captures how creative work actually flows. What would you need? I asked. something that understands creative workflows, that can handle multiple revisions without creating a million duplicate tasks, that integrates feedback from clients directly into the project, that shows creative teams what's actually urgent versus what can wait. That doesn't feel like homework. I went home that night and couldn't stop thinking about it. Started researching, talked to more people in creative industries, designers, copywriters, creative directors, agency owners. Everyone had the same frustration. And I realized there was an opportunity, a real gap in the market. I could build something better, something designed specifically for creative workflows. I started sketching ideas, wireframes for a user interface, features that would solve the problems everyone kept mentioning. I called it flow state, because good creative work happens in flow states, uninterrupted focus, and a good tool should enable that, not disrupt it. This was in early 2021. I was 32 years old, had been working as a software engineer for 8 years. I knew how to code, had managed projects, understood user experience design, had money saved up. I could actually build this thing. But I'd never built a startup before, didn't know the business side, didn't know how to fundraise or market or scale. So I called Tyler. We met for dinner at a barbecue place in East Austin. I brought my laptop, showed him my initial sketches and research. I think there's a real opportunity here, I told him. Project management for creative agencies. Nobody's doing it right. I could build something better. Tyler looked through my wireframes, asked questions about the market size, the competition, the business model. This is interesting, he said. Really interesting. Have you thought about revenue model? Subscription? Per user pricing? Probably subscription. Tiered pricing based on team size and features. Smart. And your go-to-market strategy? I'd start with my network, friends and agencies, get some early adopters, build case studies, then expand from there. Tyler nodded thoughtfully. You should do this. Seriously, I think you're onto something. Really? Yeah. The creative agency market is huge. If you can solve their project management problem, there's real money there. Plus, you have domain knowledge. You understand software. This could work. I felt validated, excited. My brother believed in my idea. I don't need funding yet, I said. I'm going to bootstrap for now, but eventually, I might need investment. Could you help me navigate that when the time comes? Absolutely. I'd love to help. Keep me updated on your progress. Show me prototypes. Let me know if you need advice. Thank you. This means a lot. You're my brother. Of course I'll help. I started building flow state in my spare time. Nights after work, weekends, every free hour I could find. I kept my day job for stability, for income to live on and invest in the business, for health insurance, for the safety net I needed while taking this risk. But flow state became my obsession, my passion project, my future. The learning curve was steep, brutal, honestly. I knew how to code, had been a software engineer for 8 years, but building a consumer product from scratch was different from my day job. I had to learn new programming languages and frameworks. React for the front end, Node.js for the back end, PostgreSQL for the database, AWS for hosting. Watched hundreds of hours of tutorials on YouTube, read documentation until my eyes burned, joined online communities for developers, asked questions on Stack Overflow when I got stuck. Trial and error. So much error. I'd spend entire weekends debugging a single feature, rewriting code that didn't work, starting over when I hit dead ends. My apartment became my office. Laptop on the kitchen table, whiteboards on every wall covered with diagrams and flowcharts, post-it notes everywhere with ideas and reminders. I stopped going out, stopped seeing friends except for occasional lunches to pick their brains about creative agency workflows. My dating life disappeared completely. Went on a few dates in early 2021, but it was impossible to maintain a relationship when I was working 80 hours a week between my day job and flow state. You're always working, one woman told me after our third date. You talk about this app more than you talk about anything else. I don't think you have room in your life for a relationship right now. She was right. I didn't. Flow state was everything. Every spare thought. Every free moment. I hired freelance developers on Upwork when I needed skills I didn't have. A designer named Sarah who helped with the user interface. She was expensive, $80 an hour, but worth it. She made FlowState look professional, clean, modern. A developer named Pavel who specialized in API integrations helped me connect FlowState with tools creative agencies already used. Slack, Google Drive, Adobe Creative Cloud. A QA tester named Michelle who found bugs I'd missed, tested every feature methodically, wrote detailed reports on what worked and what broke. Each freelancer cost money. Money I was investing from my savings, watching my bank account drain month by month. By the end of 2021, I'd spent about $20,000, half my savings at the time. But I had something to show for it. A real product, functional, useful. Slowly, month by month, the product took shape. I built a minimum viable product by March 2022. Basic features, rough around the edges, but functional. It had the core functionality, task management with revision tracking, project timelines that adapted to creative workflows, client feedback integration, collaboration tools. Not everything I'd envisioned, but enough to test with real users. I showed it to Jake and a few other friends who ran creative agencies. Set up demos, walked them through the features, watched how they interacted with it, took notes on what confused them, what delighted them, what they wished was different. Got feedback, lots of feedback. This is great, but can you add a feature for tracking billable hours? I love the revision tracking, but it needs to be more visual. I want to see version history at a glance. The client portal is good, but clients need to be able to comment directly on specific elements, not just general feedback. I took every piece of feedback seriously, iterated, improved, refined. Version 2, version 3, version 10. Each iteration got better, more polished, more intuitive. And I kept Tyler updated the whole time. This was throughout 2022 and into early 2023. Tyler and I would meet for dinner every month or so. I'd bring my laptop, show him the latest version, send him screenshots of new features between meetings, ask his opinion on business strategy questions. Should I do freemium or paid only? What do you think about the pricing tiers? How important is enterprise sales versus self-service for this market? He seemed genuinely interested, engaged, supportive. This is looking great, Marcus. Really professional. The UI is clean. The features make sense. You have a real product here. Thanks. I'm hoping to launch a beta version in the fall. Get some real paying users testing it. Work out the remaining bugs before a full public launch. When are you thinking about fundraising? Not sure yet. Maybe after beta. Once I have some traction and can show user growth and retention metrics. Prove that people will actually pay for this. Smart approach. Bootstrap as long as you can. When you're ready to raise, let me know. I can intro you to some investors in my network. That would be amazing. Thank you. Of course. You're my brother. I want to see you succeed. I trusted him. Completely and totally. He was my brother. My advisor. My mentor in the startup world I was trying to navigate. I gave him access to everything. Every document. Every prototype. Every piece of the business. My development documentation, detailed specs for every feature, database architecture, API designs. My user research, interview transcripts, survey results, personas, journey maps. My financial projections, revenue forecasts, cost structures, unit economics, fundraising timeline. My competitive analysis, detailed breakdowns of every competitor, their strengths and weaknesses, where FlowState was differentiated. Had him sit in on meetings with my freelance developers. Wanted his perspective on product decisions. His business acumen to complement my technical skills. He asked detailed questions. So many questions. About the technology stack. Why did you choose React over Vue? What are the trade-offs? About the data architecture. How are you handling data privacy? Where are you storing customer data? About the user acquisition strategy. Who's your ideal first customer? How will you reach them? What's your CAC? I thought he was being thorough, helping me think through challenges I might have missed, preparing me for investor questions I'd eventually face. I didn't realize he was taking notes on everything, literally everything. Copying my homework, documenting my product so he could recreate it. I was too naive, too trusting, too focused on building to see what was happening. By mid-2023, I had a solid beta product. Months of refinement. Thousands of hours of work. About 20 creative agencies using it. Small agencies mostly. 5 to 20-person teams. People I'd found through my network and word of mouth. The feedback was incredible. Overwhelmingly positive. This is exactly what we needed, Jake told me after his team had been using it for 2 months. We're so much more organized now. We're not drowning in scattered emails and Slack messages trying to figure out what needs to happen next. Everything's in one place. Everyone knows their responsibilities. Client feedback is captured and actionable instead of getting lost in email threads. This has legitimately improved how we work. Other beta users said similar things. The testimonials were glowing. FlowState has transformed our project management. Finally, a tool that understands creative workflows. We've tried everything else. FlowState is the only thing that actually works for agencies. I started building a waitlist for the public launch, put up a proper marketing website, wrote copy explaining the value proposition, created demo videos. The waitlist grew. 50 people, 100, 200. Organic growth from word of mouth and some tactical outreach to creative agency communities online. I was planning a public launch for September 15th, 2023. Needed a few more months to polish everything. Fix the remaining bugs that beta users were reporting. Build out a proper onboarding flow so new users could get started without hand-holding. Prepare customer support infrastructure so I could handle an influx of users. Create all the launch materials. Press release. Product hunt launch. Outreach to tech and creative industry press. I'd invested about $80,000 of my own money at this point. My entire savings from 8 years of working as a software engineer. Money I'd saved carefully. Lived below my means. Drove an old car. Lived in a modest apartment. Skipped expensive vacations. All of it went into FlowState. Plus 3 years of my life. 3 years of nights and weekends. 3 years of sacrifice. But I was on the verge. So close to launch. To making this real. To potentially building a real business. I told Tyler my exact launch date in early July, September 15th. Showed him the marketing materials I'd been working on. The launch announcement I'd drafted. The pricing page, 3 tiers, $29, $79, and $149 per month. The testimonials from beta users. The demo video I'd recorded. Looks great, he texted back. You should be really proud of what you've built. This is going to be huge. You've put in the work and it shows. Can't wait to celebrate your launch. I believed him. 2 weeks later, everything fell apart. Tyler had posted on LinkedIn. Excited to announce the launch of my new company, Creative Flow, the first project management platform built specifically for creative agencies. We've raised $5 million in seed funding led by Benchmark Capital. Join the creative revolution. My stomach dropped. I clicked the link to Creative Flow's website. And my blood ran cold. It was my product. Exactly my product. The interface was nearly identical. Same layout. Same color scheme. Same feature set. Task boards with revision tracking. Client feedback integration. Creative workflow templates. Real-time collaboration. Everything I'd built. Even the marketing copy sounded like mine. Built for the way creative teams actually work. I called Tyler immediately. Hands shaking. What the fuck is Creative Flow? Hey Marcus, I was going to call you. You stole my product. I didn't steal anything. I built my own platform. It's identical to FlowState. The features, the interface, everything. Look, we're solving the same problem. There's going to be overlap. But Creative Flow is my own work. You copied everything I showed you. 3 years of my work. Marcus, you need to calm down. I've been working on this for months. Independently. The fact that we had similar ideas doesn't mean I stole from you. You sat in my development meetings. I showed you my prototypes, my documentation, everything. You asked for my advice. I gave it. That doesn't mean you own the entire concept of project management for creative agencies. Tyler, you're my brother. How could you do this? I'm also a businessman, and I saw an opportunity. I moved faster than you. That's not theft. That's business. I'm launching in 6 weeks. Then you should have moved faster. Look, I'm sorry you're upset, but I didn't do anything wrong. I built a product. I raised money. I'm launching. You can launch yours too. May the best product win. He hung up. I sat in my apartment, staring at my laptop screen. Creative Flow's website. Tyler's LinkedIn post. $5 million in funding. Benchmark Capital, one of the most prestigious VC firms in the world. He'd used my work to pitch investors, shown them my prototypes and called them his, presented my market research as his own insights. And because he had VC connections and I didn't, he'd secured massive funding. He was going to launch with resources I couldn't match. Marketing budget, sales team, engineer hires, customer support. I checked his team page. He'd already hired 12 people, developers, designers, marketing specialists. I was a one-man operation with a few freelancers. I couldn't compete, but I had to try. I called my lawyer, a friend from college who did startup law. Explained the situation, showed him the evidence, my development timeline, emails and messages with Tyler, screenshots proving I'd built FlowState first. This is bad, he said, really bad, but proving theft of intellectual property is complicated. Did you have any non-disclosure agreements with Tyler? No, he's my brother. I didn't think I needed one. Did you file for any patents? Not yet. I was planning to after launch. Has Tyler filed patents? I checked. My heart sank. Tyler had filed provisional patents 2 months ago for the core features of the platform. My features, the ones I'd invented, but his name was on the patents. He filed first, my lawyer said. Even though you built it first, he has the legal protection. This is going to be very difficult to fight. What are my options? You can try to prove prior invention. Show that you built it before his patent filing. But that requires extensive documentation and it's expensive to litigate. We're talking hundreds of thousands in legal fees. Maybe more. I didn't have hundreds of thousands. I'd spent everything on building the product. What if I just launch anyway? Then you risk a patent infringement lawsuit, which you'll probably lose, given that he has the patents. And you'll owe damages. So I'm just fucked. I'm sorry, Marcus. This is a nightmare scenario. But yes, unless you can afford a long, expensive legal battle, you're in a very difficult position. I called my parents that night, told them what Tyler had done. My mom was sympathetic but confused. I don't understand tech stuff, honey. Are you sure he stole your idea? Maybe you both just had similar ideas. Mom, I showed him everything. He sat in my development meetings. This isn't a coincidence. Have you talked to him about it? Yes. He basically admitted it. He said, business is business, and hung up on me. My dad was less sympathetic. Marcus, you can't own an idea. If Tyler built a similar product, that's competition. That's how business works. Dad, he used my prototypes to raise $5 million. He copied everything I built. Did he sign anything saying he wouldn't? Do you have legal proof? No, because he's my brother. I trusted him. Then you learned an expensive lesson. You should have protected yourself. You should have moved faster. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Are you seriously taking his side? I'm not taking sides. I'm being realistic. Tyler launched a company and raised significant funding. That's impressive. You're upset because he beat you to market. But that doesn't mean he stole from you. It's literally my product. Then prove it in court. Otherwise, you need to accept that he outmaneuvered you. I hung up feeling sick. My own parents didn't believe me. Over the next few weeks, I watched Tyler's company explode with success I'd dreamed about for years. Creative Flow launched with massive, aggressive marketing. The kind of marketing campaign that only venture capital funding can buy. Ads everywhere. On every design blog. Every creative industry publication. Ads Age, Communication Arts, How Design, Behance. Sponsored posts on LinkedIn flooding my feed. I couldn't escape seeing them. Conference sponsorships. Tyler's company was suddenly a platinum sponsor at every major creative industry conference. AIGA, 99U, Adobe Max. Tech Press covered the launch extensively. It was everywhere. TechCrunch ran a feature. Former VC Tyler Chun raises $5 million for Creative Flow, a project management platform reimagining workflows for creative agencies. VentureBeat. Creative Flow emerges from stealth with $5 million to fix project management for creatives. The Information did a profile piece. Why this VC-turned-founder thinks creative agencies are ready for purpose-built tools. The articles all quoted Tyler extensively. Let him tell his narrative unchallenged. He talked about his entrepreneurial journey, how he'd spent years evaluating startups as a VC and finally decided to build his own. How he identified a massive gap in the market by talking to friends in creative agencies who were frustrated with existing tools. How he spent months building the perfect solution with a focus on user experience and creative workflows. Every single insight was mine. Every piece of research, every user interview, every design decision. Repackaged as his origin story, his vision, his innovation. I read an interview in Fast Company where Tyler talked about his inspiration for Creative Flow. I was having drinks with some friends who run design agencies, he said in the interview, and they kept complaining about the same thing. Asana doesn't work for them. Monday doesn't work. Basecamp doesn't work. All these tools are built for traditional business workflows. Linear, predictable, but creative work isn't like that. It's iterative. It's collaborative. It requires constant feedback and revision. I realized someone needed to build something specifically for how creative teams actually work. So I assembled a small team, and we spent 6 months in stealth mode building exactly that. My friends, my conversations, my research insights, word for word sometimes. The "someone needed to build something" line was exactly what I'd said to Tyler at our first dinner when I pitched him the idea. I wanted to scream, to comment on the article, to tell everyone the truth. But what could I say? Actually, that's my idea he's describing? Without proof, I just look bitter, jealous of my more successful brother. Creative Flow signed customers fast, faster than I could have imagined. 50 customers in the first month, real paying customers at premium prices. 100 customers by month 2, 200 by month 3. They had a sales team, 5 business development reps making calls, booking demos, closing deals. They had a customer success team, dedicated people onboarding new users, providing support, ensuring customer satisfaction. They had a marketing team, content creators, SEO specialists, paid ads experts, social media managers. They had an engineering team, 10 developers improving the product, fixing bugs, shipping new features weekly. I had me, and a couple freelancers I could barely afford anymore. There was no competition. I couldn't compete with those resources, that velocity, that market presence. I launched FlowState anyway in September as planned. Put up my website, sent emails to my wait list of 200 people, posted on Product Hunt, shared on Twitter and LinkedIn. Got some signups, about 30 customers in the first month, small agencies, a few freelancers, people who found me organically or were on my wait list from before Creative Flow launched. The feedback from users was still good. People who chose FlowState loved it. But I was drowning in Creative Flow's wake. They dominated search results, dominated industry conversations, dominated mindshare. When creative agencies searched for project management for creative teams, they found Creative Flow, not FlowState. I was invisible. And then Tyler's lawyers sent the cease and desist letter. It arrived via email in late October, from a law firm I'd never heard of. Very prestigious, very expensive. The letter was 5 pages of legal language, but the core message was clear. Creative Flow holds provisional patents on key features of project management systems designed for creative workflows. FlowState infringes on these patents. Cease all operations immediately or face legal action, including injunctions and damages. My lawyer reviewed it carefully, looked at Tyler's patent filings, cross-referenced with FlowState's features. They have grounds, he said grimly. The patents are broad enough to cover your core features. Task management with revision tracking, client feedback integration, creative workflow templates. If you keep operating, they will sue. And based on these filings, they will probably win. But I built this first. I can prove I built it first. Proving prior invention requires extensive documentation and expert testimony. It's expensive to litigate. We're talking hundreds of thousands in legal fees. Maybe more. Do you have that kind of money? I didn't. I'd spent everything building the product. What if I just keep operating and deal with the lawsuit if it comes? Then you'll be sued for patent infringement. You'll lose. You'll owe damages, potentially millions of dollars if they can prove willful infringement. You'll be personally liable. They could garnish your wages, put liens on any assets you have, bankrupt you completely. So I'm just fucked. My lawyer sighed. He looked genuinely sympathetic. I'm sorry, Marcus. This is a nightmare scenario. But yes, unless you can afford a long, expensive legal battle that you'll probably lose anyway, you're in a very difficult position. My advice is to shut down. Cut your losses. Don't give them grounds to sue you for damages. I sat in my apartment that night staring at the cease and desist letter. 3 years of work. $80,000. My entire savings. My dream. All of it about to end because my brother stole everything and had better lawyers. I had to make a choice. Fight and risk complete financial ruin. Or surrender and lose everything anyway, but at least avoid owing millions in damages. I chose surrender because I didn't have a choice. Not really. I shut down FlowState in early November 2023, for years after I started building it, less than 2 months after launch. Sent an email to my 30 paying customers apologizing, offering full refunds, explaining that due to unforeseen legal challenges, I couldn't continue operating the service. Some users were understanding. I'm so sorry, Marcus. This sucks. The product was great. Others were angry. I just migrated my whole team to FlowState. Now I have to move everything again. This is unprofessional. I felt terrible. Felt like I'd let people down. Let myself down. But I didn't have a choice. I took down the website, deleted the marketing materials, archived the code repository, closed the business bank account. FlowState was dead. And Tyler kept building Creative Flow like nothing had happened. Raised a Series A in January 2024, $15 million. Led by Sequoia Capital, one of the most prestigious VC firms in the world. Hired aggressively, 50 employees by March. Engineers, designers, salespeople, marketers, customer success managers. Moved into a fancy office in downtown Austin. Modern space, standing desks, catered lunches, all the startup perks. Posted about it constantly on social media. His LinkedIn became a chronicle of success. My stolen success. Photos from the Series A announcement party. Grateful to our investors for believing in our vision. Team photos from company offsites. Building something special with this incredible team. Screenshots of customer testimonials. Love seeing how Creative Flow is transforming workflows for creative agencies. Inspirational posts about entrepreneurship. The key to success is identifying a real problem and building a solution that people love. Stay focused. Execute relentlessly. Believe in your vision. My vision. That he stole. He never once acknowledged where the idea came from. Never mentioned me. Never showed even a hint of guilt or awareness of what he'd done. Just pure self-promotion. Building his personal brand as an innovative founder. I tried to tell people what happened. Friends. Industry contacts. Other founders I'd met through startup events. Posted about it obliquely on Twitter without naming Tyler directly. Be careful who you share your startup ideas with. Even family. Especially family. Built a product for 3 years. Someone close to me copied it, raised $5 million, launched first, then sued me for patent infringement. I had to shut down. This is my nightmare. Some people reached out privately. Did something happen with Tyler? I saw he launched a PM tool, and you had one too. But I couldn't tell the full story. Couldn't accuse him publicly without proof I could defend in court. And Tyler had resources now. Lawyers on retainer. PR people managing his image. Investors who believed his narrative and would protect their investment. If I accused him publicly, named him, detailed what he did, he could sue me for defamation. He could destroy me legally and financially. So I stayed quiet publicly, deleted my angry tweets, tried to move on with my life. But I couldn't. The anger consumed me. But I couldn't. My relationship with Tyler was over. We didn't speak, didn't see each other. My parents tried to mediate. You boys need to work this out. You're brothers. But they fundamentally didn't understand what he'd done. Didn't believe he'd stolen from me. At Thanksgiving 2023, Tyler showed up at our parents' house in Houston. I hadn't known he'd be there. My mom hadn't told me. I'd driven from Austin that morning, walked into my childhood home carrying a pie I'd bought from the grocery store. And there was Tyler, standing in the kitchen with our mom, laughing about something, looking completely relaxed and comfortable. He saw me walk in. The smile faded slightly. "Marcus." "Hey." "Tyler." My voice was flat, cold. Awkward silence filled the kitchen. My mom looked between us nervously. "Well," she said with forced cheerfulness, "both my boys are here. This is wonderful. Marcus, come help me with the turkey." I put the pie down, helped my mom in silence, while Tyler retreated to the living room to talk to our dad. Over the next hour, family arrived. My aunt and uncle, my two cousins, everyone gathering for the traditional Thanksgiving meal. Normal conversation. Football. Weather. How's work? The usual surface-level family talk. Everyone knew there was tension between Tyler and me. Nobody wanted to address it directly. We sat down for dinner. I ended up across from Tyler at the table. Couldn't avoid eye contact during the meal. The food was good. Mom had outdone herself as always. Turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, green bean casserole, cranberry sauce, rolls. I ate mechanically. Tasted nothing. About halfway through the meal, my dad asked Tyler about his company. "So Tyler, I've been reading about creative flow online. Sounds like business is going really well." Tyler lit up, always happy to talk about his success. "Yeah, Dad, it's been incredible. We just signed our 200th customer last week. Revenue is growing 40% month over month. We're closing our Series A in January, $15 million from Sequoia." My mom gasped. $15 million? Tyler, that's amazing. "Thanks, Mom. We've built something special. The team is incredible. The product is resonating with customers. The market is huge. Everything is aligning perfectly." My aunt chimed in. "We're so proud of you, Tyler. You've always been so ambitious. Remember when you were little and you said you wanted to be a CEO someday? You're living your dream." "I feel really blessed," Tyler said, with perfect humble brag delivery. "It's been a lot of hard work, but seeing the impact we're having on creative agencies makes it all worth it." I stabbed at my mashed potatoes. Said nothing. My dad turned his attention to me. The question I'd been dreading. "Marcus, what are you working on these days? Last I heard you had a startup too." The table went quiet. Everyone suddenly very interested in their plates. "Nothing," I said quietly. "I shut down my company 2 months ago." "Oh." My dad looked genuinely surprised. "That's too bad. What happened?" "Legal issues. I couldn't continue operating." "What kind of legal issues?" I looked at Tyler. He was cutting his turkey, not making eye contact. "Patent infringement claims. I had to shut down." My dad frowned. "That's unfortunate. Was it a legitimate claim?" "Depends on your definition of legitimate." Tyler jumped in smoothly. "Sometimes startups don't work out, Marcus. It's a tough space. Competitive. You gave it a shot. That's what matters. Not everyone succeeds. But you learned valuable lessons, right?" The audacity, the complete shamelessness of the statement. I felt rage building in my chest. "Yeah," I said slowly. "I learned some valuable lessons. Like how people will steal your work if you're not careful." Silence around the table. Everyone stopped eating. "Marcus," my mom said carefully. Let's not." "Let's not what, Mom?" "Acknowledge what happened. Pretend everything's fine." "I think we should talk about something else," she said firmly. But I couldn't stop. 3 months of anger came pouring out. "Tyler stole my product," I said clearly, looking around the table at my family. "I spent 3 years building Flow State. Showed him everything. Every prototype. Every feature. Every piece of my business plan. He copied it. Raised $5 million. Launched before me. Then sued me to force me to shut down. That's what happened." Tyler sighed. Put down his fork. "We've been through this, Marcus. I didn't steal anything. We had similar ideas. We were both working in the same problem space. I executed faster and better. That's business, not theft. You sat in my development meetings. You invited me. You asked for my advice. Because you're my brother. Because I trusted you. And I gave you advice. That doesn't mean I stole from you. The idea of project management for creative agencies isn't proprietary to you. It's a market need that multiple people can identify and address. With the exact same features? The exact same UI? The exact same target customer? That's not parallel thinking, Tyler. That's theft. My dad intervened, his voice stern, the voice he used when we were kids fighting over toys. Boys, enough. This is Thanksgiving. We're not doing this. We're not ruining this meal with this business nonsense. Business nonsense. I turned to my dad. Dad, he destroyed my life. 3 years of work. My entire savings. And you're calling it nonsense. I'm calling this argument nonsense, my dad said firmly. You're both adults. You're both in business. Sometimes business ventures fail. Sometimes there's competition. This is not the time or place to hash this out. He's not my competition. He's a thief. Tyler stood up abruptly. I'm not going to sit here and be accused of crimes I didn't commit. Then leave. I stood up too. Go back to your fancy office and your Series A and your stolen company. Marcus, my mom shouted. Sit down. Both of you. But I couldn't. The anger was consuming me. All the pain and frustration and helplessness of the past 3 months. Do you know what he did? I asked my family. He took my prototypes to VCs and pitched them as his own work. He filed patents on my features before I could. He launched my product with funding I couldn't match. Then he sued me. And now he's worth $50 million with my idea. Tyler's voice was cold. You can't prove any of that. You have no evidence. No contracts. No legal claim. Just sour grapes because I succeeded where you failed. I failed because you sabotaged me. You failed because you were too slow, too careful, too naive. I saw an opportunity and I took it. That's what entrepreneurs do. If you can't handle competition, you shouldn't be in business. Boys, my dad slammed his hand on the table. Silverware rattled. Enough. I will not have this at my table. I looked around. My mom looked upset, near tears. My aunt and uncle looked uncomfortable, trapped in family drama they didn't want to witness. My cousins were staring at their plates. Tyler looked righteous, indignant, like I was the problem. And I realized they would never believe me. My family would never take my side. Because Tyler had the success, the money, the prestigious investors, the Forbes 30 under 30 recognition. And I had nothing but accusations I couldn't prove. I'm leaving, I said quietly. Marcus, sit down, my mom pleaded. Please, let's just have a nice meal. We can talk about this later. No, Mom. I can't sit here and watch everyone celebrate Tyler while pretending he didn't destroy everything I worked for. I grabbed my jacket, headed for the door. Marcus, don't do this, my mom called after me. Don't leave like this. But I did. Walked out of my parents' house, got in my car, drove the 3 hours back to Austin. Didn't talk to my parents for months after that. They called occasionally, left voicemails. We miss you. We love you. Please come home for Christmas. But I couldn't sit across from Tyler and pretend everything was fine. Couldn't watch my family celebrate his success built on my stolen work. It's been over a year now. Tyler's company is worth over $50 million. He's been featured in Forbes 30 under 30, invited to speak at conferences, treated like an innovative entrepreneur. I'm working at a tech company again. Same type of job I had before I started Flow State. Good salary, but nothing special. All my savings are gone. My dream is dead. My relationship with my family is fractured. And Tyler gets to live the life that should have been mine. Using my ideas, my work, my 3 years of sacrifice. I see him on LinkedIn sometimes, posting about leadership, about innovation, about betting on yourself. It makes me sick. People ask if I regret sharing my idea with Tyler. Of course I do, every single day. But I also regret not filing patents sooner, not having legal protections, not moving faster to launch. I regret trusting family and business. Because Tyler taught me that blood doesn't mean anything when there's money on the table. He saw an opportunity to get rich by stealing from me, and he took it. No hesitation, no guilt, no loyalty, just ruthless ambition. And he won. I lost my company, my savings, my family's respect, 3 years of my life. And Tyler lost nothing, gained everything. My name is Marcus Chen. I'm 35 years old. I built a tech startup from scratch, invested everything I had. And my brother stole it, made millions, and sued me for trying to launch my own product. Everyone believes his version of the story. The successful entrepreneur who identified a market need and executed brilliantly. Nobody knows the truth, that he built his success on his brother's stolen work. And there's nothing I can do about it. Because I can't afford the lawyers, can't prove the theft, can't fight someone with $50 million and prestigious investors backing his story. So I have to watch him win. Watch him profit from my ideas. Watch him get credit for my innovation. And accept that sometimes the villain wins. Have you ever had someone steal your idea? Have you ever trusted family in business and had them betray you? Have you ever watched someone profit from your work while you got nothing? Share your story in the comments. Because not every story has a happy ending. Sometimes the person who wrongs you gets away with it completely, and you just have to live with that. If you believe that you can't steal your brother's startup idea, make millions, then sue him for copying you. Hit that like button and subscribe. Because business is ruthless, and sometimes the people closest to you are the ones who'll stab you in the back. Tyler taught me that lesson, and it cost me everything. #MyStolenStartup.